Welcome back. This, I've said this before, this should not be that horribly difficult. But I know I've said this before. One thing I do want to point out, and I've noticed it a little on the videos, and you probably have as well, this is skewed a little from your all's view, right? So, yeah. It is a little bit at an angle. This obviously is more squared towards you. I know it looks weird. This definitely is not lined up, which kind of concerns me. I just went, yeah. But it shouldn't be too far off. I mean, he's obviously, this is a dynamic pose. He's in motion. So if I've got this a little bit like that, no biggie. So where does one start? Well, I kind of like, I'm not going to put this stuff back here, you know, but I do like how that light, the dark and light, this was actually a comp, a CrossFit comp. Let me see if I can find the picture. These are other ones I'm going to paint. I'm going to paint most of them. This was Chase, which I'll probably do this one too. You see that grid, same day. It's in shadow, which, but some silly ones that I did. Apologies here. This was, it was right before it. This happens to be, let me try to scooch him so you can see. This is that day. It's a CrossFit comp a few years ago. Don't have, sadly, a ton of pictures of all the kids, but I do at this one. This was a guy, girl competition. So it's Andrew, Chase, Peyton. This is Brittany from our gym who partnered with them. And then this is Matthew. A couple years ago. But this is one I may paint too. I don't know. But it is, you know, Andrew kind of gets the short end on the pictures I've taken over the years because he's the oldest. And you know, he's 30, oh gosh, 36, 37. He'll be 37 this year. So he kind of grew up during that age, if you will, where digital photography wasn't really there. And this is just so you know, this is my normal burnt sienna and ultramarine gold. Let me show you my palette quick before I get to you. White, cadmium, medium, cadmium, yellow, medium, cadmium. This is absolute, I think, the naphthol red medium. This may be the light left over. This is ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, black. This is leftover. This is the phthalo, and that's the brilliant yellow green. I won't use either one of them for this. These are the two. There's one artist that he has the basic 3 colors, and he calls them the mother colors that he puts in every painting. If I have mother, and of course the primaries are the basic. You have to have these. Well, for the most part, you're going to use these 3. These are the 2. If I was only going to paint with 2 paints, that would be them, because they, to me, are absolutely opposite on the color wheel. There are definitely a lot of colors I cannot mix with those, but for the most part, one is very warm, one is very cool, and it's just simple. It's so simple to just say, okay, this is and it is, right? This, if at a glance, now this color, the color of this building, I would say is warm. It's a tan. Even in shadow, it's a tan. But this is a warm light. This is a cool light. So I want to cool that. You see how it's cooler. Now it's transparent, but it's cooler than this. This is warmer, that's cooler. How did I do that? Well, piece of cake. I just added some blue. May touch a little bit of white. little bit of white so you can see that a little better, but mainly it's so it's not so transparent. That's probably definitely closer to that. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, Andrew. He, bless his heart, gets the shaft. He, if you go back and look at our pictures over the years, and I've taken literally thousands of pictures of the kids in our family. You know, they used to make fun of me because I would take so many pictures, and you know, I did it just in general, but I was a budding artist, and I knew someday that I would be painting a lot of this stuff. But you know, you go back into 90, 91, 92, 93. Chase was born in 90. The digital photography wasn't there. So the pictures when Andrew was, let's say, 5, 6, 7, we had regular camera, and we do have pictures from back then. One of them that I painted, that if you go to my website, johnloganart.com, you'll see one of Andrew wearing a Tin Man outfit. And that was, of course, taken with a regular old-fashioned, got to go down to the, the drugstore or whatever to get it developed. And we don't have that many. It wasn't like I take thousands of pictures back then. I'm going to put this on mute for a second and let my dogs out. Anyway, later on, as Chase got a little bit older, Peyton was born in 97, digital photography became decent and affordable, and there's just a lot more pictures as those two got older. Those two meaning Matthew, and who's the youngest, and Peyton, and Chase as well. But a lot of the vacations we went on and things we did were, I'm trying to think, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Well, Andrew's a grown man at the time, and we would go on a vacation or something. He may not go. So I've got paintings, pictures, many pictures, and paintings that I've done that he's not in them. And that's why it's nothing planned. It's just the way things are. So let's see. It's time to cheat. Time to cheat. Well, this to make sense. Let's cheat. I love cheating. I'm a cheater. If I do cheat, I'll tell you, I promise. I'm not going to hide it from you. Gosh, how did he get that straight line? Gosh, that guy must be awesome. Wow, he's awesome. There actually was a person on a painting website. I'm going to say it was Wet Canvas. Could have been DeviantArt. I used to be on both, but I think it was Wet Canvas. And he was sharing his paintings just like most of us did. I would brag about how amazing his drawing skills were. And of course he would go, "Oh, thank you. It's very much appreciated." And it was like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. And then come to find out, there was another thread on there, someone asking about projectors. Is it cheating? If not, I want to do them. What projector should I buy? And this guy chimes in. Oh, the one I use is this one. And I'm like, no. And again, I'm not saying you want to do that. I'm not saying anything wrong with it. Don't take compliments, though. When someone, I actually posted on there, dude, you got some mad skills at draftsmanship and your drawing just spot on. Oh, thank you. Yes, years of practice. I don't know. I just don't. Again, you want to do it, that's fine. But you should, in my opinion, let, if you're doing commission, you do it for yourself. Who cares? I don't care. Just don't act like you don't use it. But, and I've used them for, murals at the gym. If you go out to my website and look, there's murals. Many of those, at least I'm going to say all the ones that you see that were in gyms over the years that we've owned or helped manage or whatever, those were all done with projector. Some of them, one of them in particular I can think of is Burpee. Well, there's a couple, I guess, but Burpee the clown character that I've created for our gym. I drew him with, it's the last one I think I've ever done that I was pencil and Sharpie marker. And then I did it on a piece of paper, drew it, and then I scanned it, took a picture of it, and digitized it, if you will, using software from that original one. It's going to be okay. Maybe a little dark, but we'll do what we got to do to it. Apologize. You can't see that, I don't think. This won't take but a second. What was I saying? No. But, I'm not hiding the fact that I used it. That I didn't do those as fine art. I did them just as things in the gym I thought were cool. And I'm just sharing you my thoughts. You do you. But I definitely, if I'm not going to hide. I guess what I'm saying, I'm not going to hide the fact that I use some straight edge or whatever. And I'm not saying you should have to hide it or you should be embarrassed by it or. But, oh yeah, that's much lighter, isn't it? Okay, I better be careful. Maybe it's okay that there's a little variation here, but this is starting to dry. That's dangerous. I'm just saying, be honest. It's just like in my whatever ability I have in painting, I'm not going to act like it was just me, like I didn't have help and I just magically figured this out on my own. And I'm not saying I'm good. I'm just saying whatever amount of decent I am at this, it's attributed to other artists. A lot of it's me working at it. Definitely. But I've never, even though I've never been to a class, I've never sat in a workshop or anything like that. I never studied it in school. Over the last 20 years, I've been trained by the world's best, the best living artists anyway, through DVDs I've purchased, through YouTube videos I've watched, through studying other artists' work, and I think I'm sure I've said this before, and probably as I've yapped, but I paint in acrylics, and 99% of the artists that I follow, that I admire, or that I've studied do oil. And that, so, well, that's not shape drawing, is it? What did I do there? would y'all let me do? That's, let me see here, just a second. That comes out, that comes out. And I'm going to do this right now so I don't forget, because I could forget. I guess I won't do it right now. Good enough. Anyway, all I'm saying is give credit where credit's due. And for me, those folks are Morgan Weisling, Everett Raymond Kinsler, Robert Hagen, Dan Gerhartz, Jerry Yarnell, who again is a PBS acrylic artist, which really initially got me interested in, I mean, I started accidentally with in acrylics, but I learned really watching him and the basics. Now, he's not someone who's, not that he's not a great artist, but he's probably not going to be somebody who's going to do a ton of portraits or what have you, even though he's done some. But the basics of how to use this medium, water soluble acrylics, the brush strokes, that kind of things, I learned from him watching his videos and watching him on TV. Back then it was TV, and I would take my VHS recorder, not DVD, but VHS recorder, and his shows came on at different times when I wasn't there. So I would record the shows, and it was like once a week or something at 1:30 in the afternoon, or I don't remember now, but I get so excited. I was so hungry for knowledge to see his latest video. And it wasn't like Bob Ross where he would do an entire painting in 30 minutes. I was not interested in that. Nothing against Bob Ross at all. But that wasn't what I didn't want to paint that. I didn't want to paint everything as a landscape and a sky and a tree. I wanted to learn to paint everything. And Jerry Yarnell seemed to be doing that in the medium that I was doing. And once I got to a point, and this is a few years, 3 or 4 years, once I got to a point that I thought, okay, I understand how to mix paint. I understand how to use the brush differently. I know that's too dark, but that's on purpose. Later on, I'll come over it with some light. And I wish you could see I'm reaching my arm over the phone, trying to get the shape right, and that's probably dangerous. Let me not do that. If I'm blocking you, I'm sorry. Straight line. Perfect. After 2 or 3 years of me feeling like I had the basics down, I was so hungry for, trying to think how to put it, the philosophical type stuff, not the how, but the why. You know, why do I look at this painting of this person? There's 2 people that paint, and I love that they're both skilled. It's obvious that both of them are great at drafting or whatever. But why do I like this one more than that one? What is it about this one that I don't like? And that type of stuff. And I guess I went from, and maybe every artist does it. I know there's probably a couple of artists maybe out there that are watching this. I'd be interested to hear your take. But I went from the books, which are very important, but the books, well, I read a lot of books. Of course, this is back when you had to do that. But I went from reading books like Drawing with the Right Side of Your Brain, which is the most important book I ever read on art. And, Andrew Loomis's drawing of the anatomy. It's 100-year-old, so a lot of people have used it. Richard Schmid's Alla Prima. Craig Nelson, 60 Minutes to Better Painting, an invaluable book to me. And again, I've had that book for 20 years, I guess, and I still watch. He has a YouTube. It's not in his name. It's the school, I guess, that he paints at, but I still watch his videos. He puts them out to this day, like weekly. Absolutely phenomenal artist, and meant a lot to me, Craig Nelson. But I went from that to Robert Henry's The Art Spirit, which is just his teachings as an instructor. I mean, he's a great artist anyway in the turn of the century. But, it's basically a book, my understanding is by his students, of his teachings. And it was he just did things that no one else had done. And some of that stuff, I guess, I just got so interested in. One of the things in that book, if you have not read the book and you are an artist, you've got to read that book. And it's not laid out chronologically. It's kind of all over the place. It's just bits and pieces of his teachings over the years. And I think there's some other artists that have contributed some of the content and some of the students. But there's examples, like one of them that I just grabbed onto that I remember, because I was like, wow, that's interesting, is he would have his students in one room and the subject in another room. So there was a room beside them, and let's pretend it's a person. There's a person in the other room that they're all painting. Now again, that's my ultramarine with what? A touch of burnt sienna. But they would go and walk in the room where the, is that right? That looks pretty good. They would walk in the room where the subject was, and they would only get, however long they were in there, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and then they would walk back, and they would paint the most important stuff they saw. And then they would go back in the other room, another shot, go look at the person. And the interesting thing, and I think if I remember right, they only had so many visits. Little angle there. It's a little over exaggerated, I know, but there's a little sharpness as it comes down and meets the ulna radius humerus. Impressed? Probably not. But I thought that was so fascinating, and it kind of leads me to something I do, and I don't remember, honestly. I wish I remembered which artist I learned this from. But any artist out there that might be watching has heard of squinting when you paint. And I know that's transparent. I'll have to hit that a couple whacks. And there's some little lines here and whatever. The squinting is something you do to just remove detail and only see the most important stuff. You'll see the sharpest edges. You'll see the darkest darks, lightest lights. You will see the most obvious contrasts. Now, what I did right there, I stepped back and I closed my eyes subconsciously, because you see where there's some drawing differences here. Right? So what I did was I put that line down and I stepped back and I squinted. I closed my eyes and I didn't do that. So sorry. So sorry. Sorry about that. I looked at this width and I looked at that width. Step back, close my eyes. I think this is a little big, but not to that point. It's a meet in the middle. So anyway, the act of squinting, big brush, always at the beginning, as you all have seen, I use big brush. But I didn't understand it at first. So now what I do, I'll jump ahead and tell you, because I'll forget to say this. His chin is tucked in. The side of his face is somewhat covered by his shirt. It's together, and that's important. And I want to get that feeling of him squinching. But anyway, now what I do a lot of, and this is because of Morgan Weisling, even though I don't believe it was him that told me this, me grabbing onto this, I don't think I know I didn't invent it, but I don't think I discovered it on my own. I'm sure I heard someone else talk about this. But I've adopted it because of this conversation I had with Morgan Weisling when I asked him, if you've never seen his work, go out, do yourself a favor. Go look up Morgan Weisling's work. He is absolutely one of the greatest living artists today. And I'm thankful, and I think most artists that have seen his work should be thankful to that he shares his knowledge with us. So anyway, I asked him, I've probably told you this story, but he called me on my birthday. I was blown away. I asked him to explain to me this squinting thing, because I didn't get it. All I do is get his headache, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And he asked me, do you paint from photo? And I said, yes, always. I think it's awesome. I think I would love one time to go out and paint from life and set up a little French easel, which I have, and enjoy, feel the sun on your back while you're painting. I just think that would be awesome. I've just never done it. And he said, if you paint from photo, it's not as important. Because as I step back right now, this is the same size as that, and I can't see that much detail, right? But if he was sitting here beside me, life size, and I was painting this, of course, I'd love to see him hold this rock for 3 hours. But his point was, this is this big. I don't see that much, but if he's in life, I can see whiskers and eyelashes. So his point was, he still thinks it's valuable to do, but the thought of closing your eyes and squinting and limiting the amount of light that hits your retina is to eliminate all this detail that's entering your eye. And it doesn't happen as much in photo. And I went, wow, that makes perfect sense. So what I do is I take a little quick glance, a little quick peek. Like if I'm trying to gauge this, let's say I'm trying to gauge that color or that value. This is a accidental, I mean, I took this picture, but it's a beautifully designed, to me, simple designed painting. And what I mean by that is even the colors he has on are either neutral or cool, and he's warm. This is cool, warm light, warm, cool. This is this entire painting that I'm going to do. It's about getting motion and dynamic, and he's lifting this stone, but it's really a perfect exercise in temperature. So as I glance at that, if I open my eyes and I study that, then it's kind of tough, because there's color there, there's color there, there's temperatures. You need to simplify it. So if I take a little quick glance and look back, I'm looking here, quick glance, and I'm looking here to try to gauge the value and the temperature. Actually, the color, what most people that aren't artists would say is, what color do I need to mix? What hue, color, I and any other temperature artist, I would call, I glance and go, well, it's warmer than that. That's not up in here. That's darker than that, right? That's lighter value than that. So as far as value, shades of gray, that is in between that highlight, and that is probably close to here, but that is warm. That right there is light, but it's warmer than that and warmer than that. But to gauge that, I'll just take a quick glance. And for the most part, I mean, you all have seen me do these. You've seen me struggle with trying to match the color, the temperature, the paint I'm trying to mix to match something over here, but I'm decent at it. I did a couple wax, and the reason I am decent at it, besides that I've done it for a long time, is I take a quick glance and I mix and I try. I don't get so wrapped up into making sure I've got to get that exactly right. If I get the value right and the temperature is right, then it's going to work. I can make that a little, there's shadows in here. Let's look at the back of his hand. It's cool. Now, it's not as cool as that shirt.